Spoke not at all until illness laid me low. A long ago fling walked unannounced into my hospital room like a hallucination. A few friends had been growing distant. I worried that the magnitude of my need was unbearable for some. I untangled my IV from the machine and hobbled backward into my crunchy hospital bed, directing my gaze at the Empire State Building to avoid making eye contact with the man on the couch. I had seen Kevin in more than 8 years when we dated for a couple of months, but he had been seeing me ever since, on Instagram and in bookstores, and more recently on GoFundMe, where he learned I had advanced metastatic cancer and a slew of chemo-related complications that kept landing me in the hospital. Our last conversation was when I called him on the street to say I couldn't see him anymore. I had spotted him in a coffee shop on what seemed like a date. On the phone, I acknowledged that we had never talked about the exclusivity, so he wasn't in trouble. Whether or not it was a date, he claimed he had run into an old acquaintance. I told him that our casual arrangement wasn't working for me. I sensed it was all he was capable of, and he didn't disagree. After that, we didn't speak until this past July, when he walked unannounced into my hospital room like a hallucination. We started texting, and 24 hours after my discharge, I had to rush to another hospital for surgery. He found me in my room, the number of which I haven't given him, with an ample of gift. Back in my apartment, he told me not to go back to the hospital alone, that I should call him first, even in the middle of the night. Being single in a society that's pathologically oriented toward romantic love, and with my family out of state, I didn't feel that I had one person I could call at 4:17 a.m. to take me to the emergency room if things got dicey. One person whose job it was to take care of me, even though I had many wonderful friends who support and love me. One day after chemo, as I languished on the couch, I'd sometimes catch him on his hands and knees scrubbing my floor, or deep at cleaning the ancient air conditioner that I worried was carcinogenic. Sometimes he kissed my head. I think I'm easy to like, but hard to love, I said to him one day. I felt particularly forthcoming in the hour or so after taking my pain medication, which he referred to as truth serum time. With my condition finally stable, our relationship had to shift beyond the patient-caretaker paradigm, and I worried it had become too scary real to him now, with fewer barriers to physical and emotional intimacy. I recently summoned him to my apartment for a conversation like the one that ended things, except that this time we both said, "I love you." Despite acting like my husband for 4 months, Kevin then said he was afraid of a relationship with me. I don't want to mess it up, he said. I'd end up disappointing you. Weeks later, he came with me to a surgical biopsy. The receptionist asked, "What is the nature of your relationship?" I turned away, deciding to punish Kevin with the burden of answering. After 3 long seconds, she said, "Best friend." I left. At my bedside, he helped me undress, tenderly pulling up my socks and folding my pants. He tied the back of my hospital gown. He said I looked good. We spoke not at all until illness laid me low. A long ago fling walked unannounced into my hospital room like a hallucination. A few friends had been growing distant. I worried that the magnitude of my need was unbearable for some.